Collectively, these documents show extremely lenient treatment for FBI officials caught up in criminal activity, or what looks like to be criminal activity. FBI ethics mess. We talked about the ethics mess with Spygate. We just get documents from, to the FBI's credit, they gave us these documents without our having to sue about them. Sue for them. It's a miracle. Received records of 14 referrals of FBI employees for leaking sensitive or classified information. 4 of them were fired. No one was prosecuted. So you have the FBI leaking officials, senior, a lot of senior, obviously, some of them were senior, I'll tell you about that. Only 4 were fired, none were prosecuted. And they were leaking classified, sensitive, or grand jury material. And it's hard to know exactly what the material was because the FBI won't tell us. You can see all this white here. These are the documents we received from OPR. They don't give you much detail. They did give us detail on one of those people, who is Andrew McCabe, who was number 2 under James Comey. And Comey, as you may recall, McCabe was fired based on an IG report that concluded that he lied about a leak he engaged in. The Office of Professional Responsibility in the document here obviously refers to McCabe, even though they redact his name. And let me read it to you here. SES employee released FBI sensitive information to a reporter and lacked candor, not under oath, and under oath when questioned about it, in violation of Offense Codes 4.10, unauthorized disclosure sensitive information, 2.5, lack of candor, no oath, and 2.6, lack of candor under oath. So I'm glad to hear the ethics rules of the FBI require you to lie, to tell the truth, even when you're not under oath. The proposed decision in this matter was made by the AD, OPR, I guess the Assistant Director. The final decision was made by Attorney General Jeff Sessions. DOJ retains final decision-making authority for certain high-ranking FBI officials. Mitigation. They have mitigation and aggravation. Mitigation, employee has XX years of, they deleted the number of years or redacted, of FBI service and a remarkable performance record. Employee was facing unprecedented challenges and pressures. Yeah, kind of like figuring out whether to engage in a coup against President Trump. Remember, he was involved in those discussions, whether to wear a wire and invoke the 25th Amendment outrageously to try to remove him from office. Aggravation. Employee held an extremely high position and was expected to comport himself with the utmost integrity. Lack of candor is incompatible with the FBI's core values. Final actions. OPR proposed decision, dismissal, final decision, dismissal. So there's another described allegation the OPR received. They didn't tell us any detail. That person was dismissed. Someone else did some leaking. They didn't give us any detail. The final decision was suggested. It looks like the final suggestion was 5 calendar days suspension without pay. Final decision closed. Another one. Employee has over XX, he misused the FBI database and provided sensitive information to an FBI employee. They proposed a 15 calendar day suspension without pay. Final decision, letter of censure. Detecting a pattern here? Another leaker. Proposed dismissal, final decision, dismissal. So that one was held up. Proposed decision, dismissal, final decision, 45 calendar day suspension without pay. Final decision. There's another one here. Looks like there was a 14-day suspension without pay, 14 calendar day suspension without pay. That was affirmed. Another one was, 2 others were letters of censure. And then one was a proposed 30-day calendar suspension without pay. 10-day calendar day suspension without pay was the final decision. So it was, as opposed to 30 days, it was 10 days. And the final one that we've gotten, and this is, by the way, over the course of 3 years. So 14 serious issues like this over the course of 3 years. Proposal, dismissal, OPR decision, 60 calendar day suspensions without pay. No one has been prosecuted. Now, McCabe has been referred to for prosecution, and I think that's at least a year ago. Nothing has been done with that proposal. Now, you may recall last week we highlighted how the FBI, thanks to Judicial Watch FOIA litigation, went over to Jim Comey's house after he was fired by the FBI, a month later, after he was fired by President Trump, a month after he was fired, and they found Trump FBI records in his home. And the reporting is the Office of Inspector General recommended that he be prosecuted because he took those records improperly. He lacked candor, that word candor, in describing their handling and misuse and leaking. And of course, he leaked them, including the classified information. And reportedly, they've decided to decline the prosecution. Now, I don't know if that's the final word or not. Someone important told me, well, don't necessarily take it as the final word because that's just reporting as to what their decision is. There's been no official word one way or another. So, let's keep our fingers crossed that something appropriate is done. But if this doesn't show why there's a leak problem at the FBI, I don't know what does. And just think about people who go to jail for a whole lot less. Because they're cagey here whether classified information was leaked. They're cagey here whether grand jury information was leaked. Collectively, these documents show extremely lenient treatment for FBI officials caught up in criminal activity, or what looks like to be criminal activity. And as I said, we're still waiting for at least one prosecution that we know has been officially referred. Supposedly DOJ took it up, but nothing's been done yet. So again, Judicial Watch, standing in the gap, providing oversight over the FBI on their failure to hold their own accountable largely for what I believe to be criminal activity. And I tell you, if the OPR, you may think, oh my gosh, the OPR, they're enemies of the regular agents, they're hyper aggressive. Oh, no, 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 no. They're very cautious and they're protective of the agency. So if they're finding misconduct, it's probably even worse than their descriptions that I'm highlighting here. So Judicial Watch is again in the lead, uncovering this terrible corruption at the FBI. And is it any surprise that a culture of leaking that is the Comey way at the top, misconduct by McCabe and Comey, would result in the FBI spying on the President of the United States and abusing its authority in that regard, and also conducting a sham investigation to protect a favorite politician like Hillary Clinton? Of course. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.